In my quest to play as many games on Xbox Game Pass as I possibly can, I came across a game that I found rather interesting. It's called Chivalry 2, and it's basically Battlefield if Battlefield made a medieval game, but it's somehow even wilder. Chivalry 2 is a multiplayer first-person slasher title that pits you in massive multiplayer battles where you must fight for your side and destroy the enemy team in a series of objectives and more. As cool as that sounds, is Chivalry 2 an acquired taste, or is it something really anybody can enjoy? And most importantly, beyond the description, is Chivalry 2 actually fun to play? But before we get into the rest of the video, be sure to hit the subscribe button with notifications on so you never miss out on another upload. Let's get right on into the review. Chivalry 2 is a pretty unique game. It's not something that you see often, but it's pretty much the type of game I've been looking for. I'm a big history fan and I've always enjoyed games inspired by historical periods that I love, and one of my absolute favorite time periods has to be medieval Europe, and I always look for video games that take place in that time. Chivalry 2 is absolutely hilarious, and I mean that literally. The game isn't super serious despite being intense, action-packed, and full of violence. It's got quite a bit of comedic stuff sprinkled heavily into it, but I'll get into that later. So to start with, Chivalry 2 is supposed to technically be based off of teamwork and accomplishing a certain objective and task. However, once you charge into the heat of battle and face off against enemy soldiers, that whole teamwork thing usually goes away as everyone fights for their own survival. However, you will run into people that will heal you if you're downed, so there is still some teamwork to be had. Gameplay-wise, you have different ways to hack and slash at enemies with a variety of weapons. Swords, axes, clubs, and other melee combat tools are easily accessible and pretty quick to learn. You have 3 main forms of attack, but you'll probably end up desperately trying to fight for your life by spamming the attacks as much as you can, only to have your head flying off by the end of the fight. But it's all in good fun, of course. In battle, you can use different voice lines and yell battle cries as you run into the thick of it, and this proved to be one of the funniest parts about Chivalry 2. I have no clue why, but there's just something funny about some of the silly voice lines coupled with the desperately defeated battle cries that your character uses. It is a great addition to the game. Now, to be fair, there is a slight learning curve when it comes to perfecting your combos and ability in combat. In most multiplayer games, you'll have to get better the more you play and practice. However, Chivalry 2 is melee-based combat and not gun-based, though I think it would be pretty funny to have an FPS game set in medieval England, but that's a whole conversation on its own. Back to my main topic. The combat system in Chivalry 2 is a bit difficult to pick up on at first. That's just because it's not super simple to apply in a real battle scenario after you go through the tutorial. Your opponent likely has moves of their own, and it becomes a bit tough to out-hack and out-slash an enemy when you're being pelted on all sides. Plus, you can inflict team damage in this game, so a flailing sword from your own teammates is very common. Some players do try to abuse this system, but there is the ability to vote to kick someone from the match if they're being toxic and annoying anyways. The more you level up, the more you unlock in terms of customization. There's different teams, and you can customize the different knight classes in each team to fit your fancy. You can choose to play as a male or female knight, and you can also customize the voice, hair, face, and more. It does take quite some time to level up in this game, but if that's not a big deal to you, or you don't necessarily care that much, and you just want to play and have fun, if you do care, enjoy the ride, it's long. However, to get down to it, is Chivalry 2 still active? I mean, the game released quite some time ago, so this is obviously a very valid question, and the answer to that is yes, very much so. The game is still really active, and the player base is mostly casual. I honestly love that about Chivalry 2 so much. We're constantly bombarded by competitive multiplayer titles that place an emphasis on being an esports-like game, and it's just not that easy to have fun. Chivalry 2 is a multiplayer game that I think puts the importance on the player actually having fun. I think that's why I loved it so much. Besides its fun combat, cool visuals, neat gameplay, and awesome setting, Chivalry 2 is really just a game you play to have fun. It's not serious, it's not insane. It's a fun game that has reward to it. You feel rewarded just simply by playing the game. You feel rewarded when you do better in one match over another because it's just accomplishing to you. I discussed this point about video games and the idea of fun in another video, which I'll link in the corner for you to check out. I just think that so many video games nowadays are in it for the money and have forgotten that keeping a game alive requires offering fun for the player. A lot of games feel miserable and chore-like to play because they employ ridiculous battle pass systems and other microtransaction stuff that it really does start to feel like a chore. Chivalry 2 never felt like a chore once while I was playing. So is Chivalry 2 actually fun, and is it still worth playing in 2023? I would say most certainly it's a great break from playing FPS games all the time. It's about knights in medieval Europe, so why not? And it's all around a well-made game. I'm really glad I tried this game out, and I recommend you play it too. Even if you don't think you'll enjoy it, just play it. I guarantee that you'll have fun. And with that being said, thank you all for watching and for tuning into DZSH Gaming. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe with notifications set to all, leave a like and drop a comment below of your thoughts on Chivalry 2, check out our website for gaming news, entertainment, and more. The link to that and all of our other socials are in the description below.
No fear! No!